Hi, everybody. Good morning. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up on this cost of living calculator. It works really cool, but the students that are in live classes seem like they needed just a little bit of help. So when you first log in, you're going to notice that it's got the link right here, but let's go ahead and look at the questions that we're asking you before you actually follow the link. So when you go to the site, you're going to enter where you live right now and then where you would like to live. You can put anything in that you possibly want, but I am going to show you how it doesn't have every single city that's in there, so you might have to adjust it just a little bit. What we're trying to find out is we're trying to kind of gather that idea of where you would possibly want to live. Is the cost of living higher or lower there? And then this is just a short discussion question, so our answer that we're looking for is what percentage of where you want to move is higher or lower, and then why do you think that the cost of living is higher or lower there? So when you follow that link, it's going to bring you over here to this cost of living calculator. And one of the things you're going to notice is it's got a couple different sections. So right here, kind of in the middle, I already filled in that I'm moving from Westchester to somewhere else, but it also has default cities down here at the bottom. And if you go ahead and you click on one of those, like Seattle, for example, you're going to notice that right here where it says 49%, that's not 49% higher than Westchester, that's 49% higher than the national average. So what's also really kind of cool to think about is, why is it more expensive to live in Seattle than it is in Westchester, Pennsylvania? And a lot of times the stuff we're covering in Chapter 3 is going to play into that. So it's probably more expensive because their houses are probably a little bit higher, but also sometimes it's going to be more expensive because they have a lot of really good jobs out there in companies and more people have moved out there. So it goes back to that concept of supply and demand. If you've got a lot of people that want to live in one area, then you're going to have a lot of demand and probably a limited amount of supply that is going to drive that cost up. When it talks about cost of living, you can see it's not only talking about housing, but it's also talking about utilities, which are like gas and electric, and it's even talking about groceries. So literally, if you went to a regular grocery store, your milk would cost more, your cheese would cost more, your cereal would cost more, and that kind of thing. What I just wanted to show you one more thing as a little bit of a kind of red flag. I'm going to go back here for a second. So I was going to say I was moving from Westchester, and I was trying to put in where some of my family lives, which is Greencastle, Indiana. And then what happens is that Greencastle, Indiana is a really small town. So that's not in here, but it does come up with Indianapolis, Indiana. And I'm just going to go ahead and choose that. You can play around with the annual salary if you want, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it at $50,000. And then what I'm able to see is just automatically, it's going to calculate for me, and it's going to show me that if I made $50,000 in Westchester and I moved to Indianapolis and I wanted to maintain my standard of living, I only need to make $34,550. So you can see right down here, the reason why is the cost of living is less expensive. Now, I actually know that for real because I have a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles that live in that area, and I know for sure that it's a lot less expensive. Look how much lower the housing prices are in Indianapolis versus where we live. You're probably old enough to realize that where we live is a relatively expensive area, but we're not the most expensive area. So you can play around with this. You can put in different cities. Another area that is kind of interesting to me is Charleston, South Carolina. My daughter goes to school down in South Carolina, so I'm just going to put that in and see how that goes. Yeah, same thing. So less expensive than where we live. I promise you there are more expensive places than where we live. So I'm just going to play around with that a little bit. I'm going to come on back over and I'm going to enter my answer. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. Take care. Bye-bye.